The massive alien ship hung in space above Earth like a storm cloud. It was 10 miles long and shaped like a spear. Captain Kate Miller stood straight and tall on the bridge of the much smaller human ship called the Horizon. She tried not to show fear as she watched the alien vessel through the main window. "Are we really going through with this?" asked Lieutenant Ben Rogers. His voice was steady, but his eyes showed worry. Kate nodded. "We don't have a choice. The Vacrics have destroyed 3 solar systems already. If talking can save Earth, we have to try." The message from the alien ship came 3 days ago. It was simple: meet us or die. Earth's leaders had picked Kate and her team to go. They were scientists and soldiers. The best Earth had to offer. Dr. Adam Collins checked his sample case for the 5th time. As the ship's main scientist who studied alien life, he had brought examples of Earth creatures to show the aliens. "I still think this is a trap," he said. "Maybe," Kate said. "But our scans show their weapons could destroy our planet in minutes. We need to buy time, if nothing else." The radio crackled. A deep voice that sounded like rocks grinding together spoke in perfect English. "Human vessel, you may board now. Follow the light to docking bay 3. A purple beam shot out from the alien ship, guiding their way in. Kate looked at her team of 6 people. "Remember the plan. Be respectful, but not weak. Show interest in their culture. Try to make them see U.S. as people worth knowing, not just another world to crush." The Horizon moved slowly into the massive docking bay of the Vacric ship. Kate felt like a minnow swimming into the mouth of a whale. Inside the alien ship, they were met by 4 Vacric's guards. Each stood nearly 9 feet tall, with gray-green skin that looked like stone. They wore armor that gleamed under the lights, and carried weapons bigger than a human arm. "Follow," said one guard. Its mouth barely moved, but the word was clear. They walked through corridors tall enough for the aliens, but made humans feel small. The walls were covered with carvings showing battles and conquests. Kate noticed there were no pictures of families or peaceful scenes. After walking for 10 minutes, they entered a large room with a long table. At the far end sat the largest Vacrics they had seen yet. He wore red armor with black markings and had scars across his face. "I am Commander Grak," the alien said. "I speak for the Vacrics Empire in this sector." "You are the Earth delegation?" Kate stepped forward. "I am Captain Kate Miller of the Earthship Horizon. We come in peace and hope to establish friendly relations between our peoples." Commander Grak made a sound like metal scraping on concrete. It took Kate a moment to realize he was laughing. "Peace? Relations? You misunderstand your situation, small one. The Vacrics do not make friends. We conquer or we destroy. I simply wanted to see what creatures would dare to resist us when we arrived. In your system." He stood up, towering over them. "Your weapons are primitive. Your ships are slow. Your bodies are soft and weak. What could you possibly offer that would make us spare your world?" Kate felt her heart sink, but kept her face calm. "We offer knowledge, art, diversity of thought. Earth has thousands of cultures with different ways of solving problems. We could be valuable allies." Another scraping laugh. "Show me these valuable things you speak of. Show me Earth's strength." Dr. Collins stepped forward eagerly. "If I may, I've brought samples of Earth's biodiversity." He put his case on the table and began to open it. As he arranged his specimens, a small brown spider that had been hiding in the case scurried across the table. It was no bigger than a quarter. "What is this tiny thing?" Grak asked, pointing one massive finger at the spider. Dr. Collins looked embarrassed. "I'm sorry, that's just a brown recluse spider. It must have gotten into my case by accident. It's not part of my presentation." The spider ran in circles, confused by the strange environment. Grak slammed his fist down next to it, making the table shake. The spider stopped, then continued on its way. "Is this your mighty Earth warrior?" Grak asked. He looked at the other Vakrix in the room, and they all began to make the scraping laugh sound. "It is so small I could step on 1,000 and not notice." The spider, startled by the noise, ran toward Grak and disappeared under his armor at the wrist. Grak didn't notice. He was too busy mocking them. "If this is the best Earth has to offer, your world will be easy to conquer." Kate tried to redirect the conversation. "The spider is just one of millions of species on Earth. Our strength is in our diversity and adaptability." Grak wasn't listening. He stood and walked around the table, getting uncomfortably close to the humans. Kate had to crane her neck to look up at him. "Here's what will happen, small one. You have 1 Earth month to prepare your surrender. We want your water, your metals, and your planet. Your people may live as our servants if they are useful. If you resist, we will turn your oceans to steam and your cities to ash." Kate felt cold anger replace her fear. The people of Earth won't surrender their home without a fight. Grak leaned down until his face was inches from hers. His breath smelled like hot metal. "Then they will die. 1 month, Captain Miller. Then we come to collect what is ours." He straightened up and pointed to the door. "Go now. Tell your leaders what awaits them." As they were escorted back to their ship, Kate noticed Dr. Collins frantically searching his case. "What's wrong?" She asked quietly. "The spider," he whispered. "I can't find it. It must still be on the alien ship." "Forget the spider," Kate said. "We have bigger problems. We need to get back to Earth and warn everyone." As the horizon pulled away from the alien vessel, Kate looked out at the stars. 1 month to save humanity from extinction. 1 month to find a way to defeat an enemy that could crush them like insects. Little did she know that the tiny brown spider left behind might be the key to everything. The room was filled with worried faces. 20 of Earth's top leaders sat around a large table in the underground bunker beneath New York City. Maps and screens covered the walls, showing the massive alien ship that still hung in Earth's orbit. Like a waiting predator, Captain Kate Miller stood at the front of the room. She had just finished telling them about the meeting with Commander Grak and the Vakrix threat. 1 month, said General Patricia Winters, her gray hair cut short around. Her stern face. "That's all the time we have to prepare for an attack or surrender." "We can't surrender," said a man in a business suit. "You heard what they want. Our water, our metals, our planet. They'll strip Earth bare. And we can't win a fight," said another leader. "Their weapons technology is at least 100 years ahead of ours." The room grew louder as everyone began to argue. Kate watched them, feeling tired and hopeless. The meeting with the Vakrix had shown her just how outmatched humans were. The door opened, and Dr. Adam Collins rushed in. His lab coat was wrinkled, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days. He carried a tablet computer and seemed excited. "Sorry I'm late," he said. "I've been in my lab since we got back, and I found something strange." General Winters frowned. "Dr. Collins, we're discussing the survival of our species. Whatever you found can wait." "No, it can't," Adam said, placing his tablet on the table. "It's about the spider, the brown recluse that got loose on the Vakrix ship." Kate remembered. The small brown spider that had scurried across the table and disappeared under Commander Grak's armor. "What about it?" Adam tapped his tablet, and a picture of a spider appeared on the main screen. "This is a normal brown recluse spider, and this ... He swiped to another image that looked like a dead spider. "This is the one I found in my sample. Case when we got back to Earth." "You're interrupting us to show a dead spider?" asked the man in the suit. "It's how it died that matters," Adam said. This spider was healthy. It had food and water in its container, but something killed it within hours of our return. Look at its cells under a microscope. He showed another image. Even to the untrained eye, something looked wrong with the cells. They were twisted and broken. The spider's body chemistry changed after exposure to the Vakrix ship, Adam explained. I think it tried to bite Commander Grek, but couldn't pierce his skin. When it did, its venom glands absorbed a small sample of Vakrix biochemistry. The room grew quiet as everyone began to understand what he was saying. The spider's venom changed, Kate said slowly. It adapted to the Vakrix biology. Adam nodded eagerly. Exactly. Brown recluse venom contains an enzyme that breaks down cell membranes. On humans, it causes tissue damage but is rarely fatal. But when exposed to Vakrix cells, the enzyme reconfigured itself. It became extremely toxic to their biology. How toxic? Asked General Winters. Based on my tests using the samples we collected, a single bite could kill a Vakrix within minutes. Their cells simply dissolve. The room erupted in excited conversation. For the first time since the aliens arrived, there was hope in people's voices. Can we make more of this venom? Asked a woman in a military uniform. I think so, Adam said. But I need help. I'm not an expert on spiders. Get him whatever he needs, General Winters ordered. Dr. Collins, who's the best spider expert on the planet? Adam didn't hesitate. Dr. Olivia Martinez at the University of Arizona. She's studied brown recluse spiders for 20 years. Get her here today, the general said. 3 days later, Adam and Olivia stood in a special laboratory built just for their project. Dozens of brown recluse spiders lived in clear boxes along the walls. Lab workers moved carefully among them, taking samples and making notes. This is amazing, Olivia said. She was a short woman with dark hair, pulled back in a ponytail. She adjusted her glasses as she looked at the test results on her screen. The venom doesn't just kill Vakrix cells. It spreads from cell to cell, multiplying as it goes. Can we make enough to be useful as a weapon? Adam asked. Olivia nodded. We can extract venom from the spiders and synthesize more in the lab. But delivery will be a problem. We need to get it into their bodies somehow. Kate walked into the lab with Colonel Jack Nelson, a tall man with a serious face and short brown hair. Maybe we can help with that, she said. Colonel Nelson has an idea. The colonel placed a case on the table and opened it. Inside were what looked like normal spiders, but they moved with purpose, not the random scurrying of regular spiders. Micro-robotics, he explained. They look and move like real spiders, but we can control them remotely. If we could equip them. With your venom, double quotes, Olivia picked one up and examined it. The delivery system would need to be very small. The robots would need to find gaps in their armor, just like a real spider would. We can do that, the colonel said. But we still need to get them onto the Vakrix ship. Kate thought for a moment. Before their deadline, I'll request one final meeting. A cultural exchange before Earth surrender. Commander Grok seemed to enjoy humiliating us. He might agree. Just for the entertainment. It's risky, Adam said. If they discover what we're doing. Do we have a choice? Kate asked. It's this or surrender our planet. Over the next 2 weeks, the team worked day and night. Olivia extracted venom from the spiders and worked with chemists to produce more. Adam tested it against samples of Vakrix cells to make sure it would work. Colonel Nelson and his engineers built hundreds of spider-like robots that could carry the deadly venom dot as the deadline grew closer. Kate practiced what she would say to Commander Grek. She knew she would. Only get one chance to save Earth. 20-5 days after the first meeting. Kate sent a message to the Vakrix ship. Commander Grok, Before Earth makes its final decision, we request one more meeting to share cultural artifacts as a gesture of respect. We wish to show you items of significance from our world. The reply came back an hour later. Your request is granted. You may bring your trinkets. It will amuse me to see them before I take your world. Kate looked at her team, Adam, Olivia, and Colonel Nelson. It worked. Now comes the hard part. That night, as they prepared for the mission, Kate stared out the window at the stars. Somewhere up there, the Vacrics waited, still laughing at the tiny humans and their small planet, still unaware that Earth's smallest creatures might be their undoing. The horizon floated once again toward the massive Vacric ship. This time, Captain Kate Miller felt different. Not confident exactly, but not hopeless either. She looked at her small team in the ship's main room. Dr. Adam Collins checked his special wooden box for the 10th time. Inside were 50 robot spiders, each loaded with a deadly venom. They looked exactly like real brown recluse spiders. Are you sure they'll work? Kate asked. Colonel Jack Nelson nodded. We tested them 100 times. They respond to remote commands and can find gaps in armor. Once inside, they will bite and inject the venom. Dr. Olivia Martinez held up a small device that looked like a normal watch. This controls them. Short range only, so we need to be in the same room as the Vacrics. And the backup plan? Kate asked. Colonel Nelson patted his pocket. 4 venom bombs disguised as gift items. If the spiders fail, we break these open. The venom will get into the air system. Lieutenant Susan Wright, a young woman with short blonde hair, checked her own equipment. As both a soldier and someone who knew a lot about insects, she was perfect for this mission. I have 2 more venom devices hidden as ceremonial candles. We light them. They release venom into the air. Kate looked at each of them. Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone on Earth. The horizon docked inside the Vacric ship just as before. This time, 6 alien guards met them. The aliens seemed even bigger than Kate remembered, their stone-like skin and hard armor making them look unbeatable. Commander Grok is waiting, one guard said. Follow. They walked through the same long corridors. Kate noticed the Vacrics seemed even more sure of themselves now. They didn't even bother to check the humans for weapons or devices. They entered a large room Kate hadn't seen before. It was circular with a high ceiling. At least 30 Vacrics stood around the edges of the room. In the center was Commander Grok, his red armor shining under the bright lights. Welcome back, small ones, Grok said. His voice boomed in the large space. Have you come to surrender your world? Kate stepped forward. Commander Grok, before we give our answer, we wish to share some cultural items from Earth. It is our custom to exchange gifts before important decisions. Grok made the scraping laugh sound. Very well. Show me these gifts before I take your world by force. Kate nodded to Adam, who stepped forward with his wooden box. This box is made from oak, one of Earth's oldest trees. Inside are small items that represent our planet. Adam set the box on a table and stepped back. Grok approached and looked down at it with what seemed like boredom. Open it, he ordered. Adam pressed a hidden button on the side of the box. The lid slowly opened by itself. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, as if sensing their targets, the robot spiders began to crawl out of the box. They moved quickly across the table toward Grok. One of the Vacric's guards noticed and pointed. Commander, look. Grok saw the spiders and made the scraping laugh again. More of your tiny creatures? This is your great cultural gift? The other Vacrics in the room began to laugh too. The sound was like metal grinding on stone, filling the large space. The robot spiders scattered in all directions. Some ran toward Grok, others toward the guards, and other Vakriks in the room. They moved with purpose, heading for gaps in armor and exposed skin. "They are harmless," Kate said, trying to keep her voice steady. "On Earth, we see spiders as symbols of patience and creativity. They weave beautiful webs and wait for the right moment to act." As she spoke, the first spider reached Grak's leg and disappeared under his armor at the knee joint. 3 more found similar gaps in other Vakrik's armor. Grak didn't notice. He was too busy mocking them. "If this is Earth's final message, it is pathetic. Your time is up. Earth belongs to the Vakriks now." He turned to his warriors. "Prepare the invasion fleet. We begin tomorrow at—" Grak suddenly stopped talking. His large body went stiff. He looked down at his leg, where the first spider had entered. "What is this?" he said, his voice suddenly weaker. "I feel strange." Kate glanced at Olivia, who was checking her watch-like controller. The scientist gave a small nod. The spiders were working. Another Vakrik's guard across the room made a choking sound and fell to one knee. Then another stumbled against the wall. Commander Grak's face changed from confusion to anger. "What have you done?" He tried to step toward Kate, but his leg gave out. He crashed to the floor, making the whole room shake. "Weapons!" a Vakrik shouted. Several guards raised their large guns. "Now!" Kate yelled. Susan lit her fake candles and threw them to opposite sides of the room. They began to release a fine mist into the air. At the same time, Colonel Nelson broke open one of his venom bombs, adding more of the deadly spray to the room. Vakriks began firing their weapons, but their aim was off. The venom was working quickly, affecting their vision and control. Energy blasts hit the walls and ceiling instead of the humans. Back to the door. Kate ordered her team. They moved quickly, staying low to avoid the wild shots. More Vakriks fell to the floor. Some tried to remove their armor where the spiders had entered, but it was too late. The venom was spreading through their bodies, dissolving their cells from. The inside Commander Grak rolled onto his back, his body shaking. "How?" he gasped. "How can tiny creatures defeat the mighty Vakriks?" Kate stood over him, no longer afraid. "You laughed at our spiders, at our size, at our planet. But on Earth, the smallest creatures are often the deadliest. We evolved alongside them, built resistance to their venoms. You never had to face such things on your world." Grak's eyes widened as understanding came too late. His body went still, the venom completing its work. All around the room, Vakrik's warriors lay on the floor. Some were already dead, others dying. Quickly, only a few remained standing, and they backed away from the humans in fear. "Tell your leaders what happened here," Kate said to the survivors. "Tell them Earth is not to be underestimated." The team made their way back to the horizon, moving carefully through corridors, now filled with confused and dying Vakriks. Alarms blared throughout the ship as the aliens tried to understand what was happening. As they prepared to leave, Adam looked at the small controller in Olivia's hand. "I can't believe it worked so perfectly." "Nature is the best weapon designer," Olivia said. "We just helped it along." Kate looked back at the Vakrik ship as the horizon pulled away. "They came to our world thinking size and strength were all that mattered. They never considered that living on a planet like Earth makes you strong in different ways." The horizon accelerated toward Earth, leaving behind a lesson written in Vakrik's blood. Never underestimate the small, for they may have evolved to survive among the truly dangerous. The horizon raced back to Earth, flying faster than it ever had before. Inside, Captain Kate Miller and her team watched the screens nervously. Behind them, the massive Vakrik ship had begun to move. "They're following us," said Lieutenant Susan. "Right. 3 smaller ships just launched from the mothership." Colonel Jack Nelson studied the radar. "Attack vessels. They're faster than the mothership. They'll catch us before we reach Earth. Kate gripped the arms of her chair. How long? Until they're in firing range? 20 minutes, the pilot said. Maybe less. Dr. Adam Collins looked pale. We killed their commander and many of their warriors. They won't take prisoners now. We need to warn Earth, Kate said. She opened a communication channel to Space Command headquarters. General Winters peered on the screen, her face tight with worry. Captain Miller, report. What happened up there? The spider venom worked, Kate said quickly. Commander Grok and most of his guards are dead. But we have 3 Vakrix attack ships in pursuit. We need planetary defenses ready when we arrive. The general nodded. I'll alert all stations. Get back here as fast as you can. The screen went dark. Dr. Olivia Martinez was checking the remaining. Venom supplies. We have 2 bombs left and about 20 robot spiders. Not enough to take on 3 ships. We don't need to fight them all, Kate said. We just need to reach Earth's defense perimeter. If we can slow them down. Colonel Nelson suddenly stood up. I have an idea. Lieutenant Wright, help me modify the ship's garbage ejection system. While Nelson and Wright worked, Kate watched the pursuing ships get closer. The largest was shaped like an arrowhead, sleek and deadly. What are they doing? Adam asked, pointing. To Nelson and Wright, who were connecting tubes and wires to the ship's waste disposal unit. Making a weapon, Kate said, understanding the plan. Can you program the remaining robot spiders to activate on impact? Adam nodded. Yes, but how will we get them onto the Vakrix ships? 15 minutes later, they had their answer. Colonel, Nelson had converted the garbage ejection system into a makeshift launcher. The remaining robot spiders, along with the 2 venom bombs, were loaded into containers normally used for waste. It's not pretty, but it should work, Nelson said. When I give the signal, cut our engines for 3 seconds, then go to maximum power. The sudden change will make them overshoot us. That's when we fire. Kate gave the order to the pilot, who looked nervous but nodded. They're almost in firing range, Susan warned. 10 seconds. Now. Nelson shouted. The Horizon's engines went silent. The ship seemed to hang in space for a moment. The 3 Vakrix attack vessels, not expecting this move, shot past them. Engines full. Kate ordered. The Horizon jumped forward again. As they passed under the Vakrix ships, Nelson fired the makeshift launcher 3 times. Containers full of vol. Robot spiders and venom bombs shot toward the alien vessels. Direct hit on the lead ship, Susan called out. The other containers hit the second ship. Third ship is turning to pursue. On the screens, they could see the first 2 Vakrix ships slow their pursuit. One began to move erratically, as if the pilots were losing control. The venom is working, Olivia said. The spiders must have found a way inside. The third ship kept coming. It fired an energy beam that passed just over the horizon, close enough to make the lights flicker. They're still in range, Kate said. We need more speed. Rerouting power from life support to engines, the pilot said. We can hold our breath for a few minutes. The Horizon surged forward again, putting more distance between them and the remaining Vakrix ship. Earth grew larger in their front window. Earth defense perimeter in 5 minutes, Susan reported. The Vakrix ship fired again. This time the beam hit the Horizon's rear section. The ship shook violently, and warning lights flashed across all. Control panels. Engine damage, the pilot shouted. We're losing power. Kate looked at the screens. The Vakrix ship was closing in again. They wouldn't make it to Earth's defense line in time. There must be something else we can use, Adam said, desperately. Another weapon, Kate thought quickly. The sample case from our first meeting. You said the original spider contaminated it with Vakrix biology, right? Adam nodded. Yes, the case is still in the science lab, but what good is that now? The ship's air filters, Kate said. They would have collected skin cells, hair, anything that came off the Vacrix during their first visit to our ship. If we could extract that material, Olivia understood immediately, and mix it with regular spider venom from the medical kit. It won't be as strong as our engineered version, but it might work. Adam and Olivia ran to the science lab. Minutes later, they returned with a small spray bottle. It's not much, Adam said, and we have no way to test it. Kate took the bottle. We'll have to risk it. Colonel, can we vent it through the rear exhaust ports? Create a cloud behind us? Nelson nodded and took the bottle. He and Susan worked quickly to connect it to the ship's ventilation system. Ready, Nelson said after a few minutes. But the Vacrix ship will have to fly right through it to be affected. They're gaining on us, the pilot warned. 30 seconds until they're right behind us. Kate made her decision. Cut engines, too. Minimum. Let them get close. When I give the word, release the venom, and then go to emergency power. Everyone braced themselves as the ship slowed. On the screens, they could see the Vacrix ship growing larger, closing the gap. They're right behind us, Susan said, in perfect position. Now, Kate ordered. Nelson hit the release button. A fine mist sprayed out from the horizon's rear section, creating a cloud in space. At the same time, the pilot pushed the engines to emergency levels. The ship shot forward, shaking so hard that warning systems blared throughout the vessel. Behind them, the Vacrix ship flew directly through the venom cloud. For a few terrible seconds, nothing happened. Then the alien ship began to slow. Its weapons powered down. It drifted to one side, no longer following a direct course. It worked. Adam shouted. Not as fast as our engineered venom, but it's affecting them. Kate watched the screens as Earth's defense ships appeared, moving toward them. We made it, she said quietly. And we just found out something important about the Vacrix. What's that? Olivia asked. They're not invincible, Kate said. No species is. Everything has a weakness. We just had to find theirs. As Earth's ships surrounded them, providing protection for the damaged horizon, Kate looked back at the distant Vacrix mothership. It had stopped moving, hanging in space as if uncertain what to do next. For the first time since the aliens arrived, Kate allowed herself to feel real hope. Earth had a chance now. A real chance. 6 months passed since the confrontation with the Vacrix. Earth had changed in many ways. Countries that once fought each other now worked together against the common threat from space. Scientists shared discoveries freely. New weapons based on spider venom were built and placed on ships and defense stations around the planet. Captain Kate Miller stood at the window of the space station that orbited Earth. The station had been built quickly after the Vacrix attack, a place where humans could watch for any sign of the aliens returning. So far, the Vacrix mothership had stayed at the edge of the solar system, not approaching Earth, but not leaving either. Captain, we have movement, said Lieutenant Susan Wright, who now worked as Kate's second in command. The Vacrix ship is changing position. Kate turned from the window. Are they coming toward Earth? No, Susan said, checking her screens. They're launching a small vessel. Just one. It's heading our way, but slowly. No weapons active. Colonel Jack Nelson entered the control room. In the months since their mission, he had been put in charge of Earth's new defense systems. Should we power up the venom cannons? Kate thought. For a moment. No, let's wait and see what they want. But keep the weapons ready, just in case. Dr. Adam Collins and Dr. Olivia Martinez joined them in the control room. The two scientists had become heroes after creating the venom weapon. They had spent the last 6 months studying the Vacrix biology samples and improving their understanding of how the spider venom affected the aliens. A single ship could be a peace offering, Adam suggested, or a trap. We'll find out soon enough, Kate said. How long until they reach us? 2 hours at their current speed, Susan answered. The next 2 hours felt like days. Everyone on the station watched the approaching Vacrix vessel. It was smaller than the attack ships they had faced before, about the size of a bus, with smooth, gray-green sides that looked like stone. When the ship was close enough to see clearly through the station's windows, it stopped moving. They're sending a message, Susan said. Audio only. Kate nodded. Let's hear it. A deep voice filled the room, similar to Commander Grax, but less harsh. Earth Station. This is Ambassador Krell of the Vacrix Collective. I come alone and unarmed to speak with your leaders. Kate looked at her team. This was unexpected. Ambassador? The Vacrix never mentioned diplomats before. It could still be a trick, Nelson warned. Kate made her decision. Tell them they can dock at Airlock 3, but we'll have armed guards and venom weapons ready. An hour later, the Vacrix ship was connected to the station. The airlock door opened slowly. A tall figure stepped through, ducking to fit under the human-sized doorway. Ambassador Krell looked different from the Vacrix they had met before. He wore no armor, only a simple gray robe. His stone-like skin had patterns carved into it that looked like writing. Most surprisingly, he came alone and carried no weapons. Kate, Nelson, and 4 guards with venom sprayers met him in the airlock. Chamber. Captain Miller, Krell said, bowing his large head slightly. Your reputation has spread far among my people. Ambassador Krell, Kate replied, keeping her hand near her own venom sprayer. Why have you come? Krell looked around at the venom weapons, pointed at him. I understand your caution, but I truly come in peace. The Collective has reconsidered its approach to your world. You mean since we killed your commander and stopped your attack? Nelson asked sharply. Krell made a sound that might have been a sigh. Yes, Commander Grok was from the old school of thought. Conquer or destroy. But your spider venom showed us something important. What's that? Kate asked. That strength comes in many forms, Krell said. For thousands of years, the Vacrix have valued only physical power and advanced weapons. We never considered that a tiny creature could be deadlier than our strongest warrior. Kate studied the ambassador carefully. He seemed sincere, but she had learned to be cautious. So what happens now? I propose an alliance, Krell said. The Vacrix have technology that could help Earth. You have biological knowledge that could help us understand worlds we've never been able to explore. You want our spider venom research, Nelson said. It wasn't a question. Not as a weapon, Krell clarified, as protection. There are many worlds with creatures like your spiders. Worlds we've avoided because we had no defense against their toxins. Over the next few days, Ambassador Krell met with Earth's leaders. Kate and her team attended. Every meeting, watching and listening. Slowly, Kate began to believe that the ambassador was honest about wanting peace. A month later, a treaty was signed. The Vacrix would share their space technology, helping humans build better ships and defense systems. In return, Earth would share some of their biological research, though not the exact formula for the weaponized spider venom. As part of the agreement, a science exchange program was created. Human scientists would visit Vacrix worlds, and Vacrix researchers would come to Earth to learn about its diverse life forms. On the day the first exchange team was set to leave, Kate met with Adam and Olivia at the space station. The 2 scientists had volunteered to be among the first humans to visit a Vacrix world. Are you sure about this? Kate asked them. We still don't fully trust them. Adam smiled. That's why we're going, to build that trust. Besides, I want to see their faces when they learn about all the other venomous creatures on Earth. Just don't tell them about box jellyfish or blue-ringed octopuses yet, Olivia said with a laugh. Let's not scare them too much at once. Kate watched as they boarded the ship where Ambassador Krell waited. As the door closed, she thought about how much had changed because of one small spider. Later that evening, Kate sat in her office on the station, writing her daily report. On her desk was a small glass case containing a preserved brown recluse spider, a reminder of how the smallest things could change the course of history. A message came through on her screen. It was from Adam, already halfway to the Vakrix homeworld. You won't believe this, the message read. The Vakrix have built a memorial to the spider that killed Commander Grek. They call it the Tiny Teacher, because it taught them that true strength isn't always visible. Maybe there's hope for understanding between our species after all. Kate smiled as she closed the message. The universe was vast and full of dangers, but also opportunities. Humans had evolved on a world filled with deadly creatures, learning to survive alongside them. That experience had prepared them for the stars in ways they never imagined. She looked out the window at the stars and the earth below. Whatever came next, humanity was ready.